go of all the busyness. Welcome to Center for Spiritual Living, Port Angeles, on a beautiful, sprinkly, late summer evening. My name is Reverend Asha Burson-Johnson. My preferred pronouns are she, her, and I'm very grateful to be with you in the room, you on Zoom, and you who will join us later on YouTube and Facebook. So we just sink into this moment, this present moment where we're here in this present now. So we don't have any announcements. Oh, yes, I have one. There's women's wisdom group on Saturday, and that'll also be here in the barn. And if you'd like to join us on Zoom, you're welcome to do that. But we do find that it is more connective when we're here in person. So we can definitely do that. Saturday from 1 to 3. So we're going to read our vision and our mission, which is on the back side of your program. If you choose, I invite you to say it with me. Our vision. We are an open, safe, creative, affirming, and thriving spiritual community where we experience divine love and connection every day. Our mission. Through spiritual, artistic, and social gatherings, we experience and express divine love. Our intentions create ripples of compassion into the world. Our opening song is In the Stillness. I invite you to sing along with us or just listen and allow this song to sink you deeper into this quiet, present moment. In the stillness of this moment, there is peace, there is peace. In the stillness of this moment, there is peace, there is peace. And I rest and trust and breathe and know that in the stillness of this moment, there is peace. Love. In the stillness of this moment, there is love, there is love. In the stillness of this moment, there is love, there is love. And I rest and trust and breathe and know that in the stillness of this moment, there is love. Joy. In the stillness of this moment, there is joy, there is joy. In the stillness of this moment, there is joy, there is joy. And I rest and trust and breathe and know that in the stillness of this moment, there is joy. Back to peace. In the stillness of this moment, there is peace, there is peace. In the stillness of this moment, there is peace, there is peace. And I rest and trust and breathe and know that in the stillness of this moment, there is peace, there is peace, there is peace. We breathe into the peace of this moment, the love in this moment, the joy in this moment. I invite Sky Sternberg, our practitioner for this evening, to do a lovely opening reading, a brief time of silence that I will bring out with the crystal bowl. He'll do an opening prayer and then lead us in our affirmation. Sky.
Okay. This quote is from an anonymous source. Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will affect your life, and you will call it fate.
Read that again.
Yeah. Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life, and you will call it fate.
Ah, good. Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will rule your life, and you will call it faith.
It will
Direct your life,
and you will call it
faith.
You will call it faith.
Good, thank you. It was just a little fuzzy. I don't know why. Thank you, Sky.
Affirmation.
Yep. I am discovering what was previously unknown within my body, my beliefs, and my lifetime of conditioning. I am bringing all parts of myself into the light, finding wisdom and freedom in the process. Thank you. Thank you for your patience. Thank you for just working with what is. I appreciate that. So a while back, Premdaya and I ended up writing a song together, and for some reason today it felt like it was time to bring it back out again. So I'm going to open my talk portion of our evening with this song, and I just invite you to just enjoy it. Because we don't have any confusion right now, right? What am I trying to say? Why do I feel so confused? All I can hear is the voice that says I don't know what I'm doing. What am I trying to see here? Why do I feel so blind? All I can see is a misty path, and I don't know what I'm doing. What am I straining to hear? Why am I deaf to the wisdom within? All I can hear are the voices that stop me, and I don't know what I'm doing. Something within knows what I'm doing. Something within knows who I am. Somewhere within is the truth of my being. Somewhere within is the something that knows. I hear it calling, the voice of my power. It seems so far away, singing my heart into freedom and wholeness. I remember the song of my soul. Something within knows what I'm doing. Something within knows who I am. Somewhere within is the truth of our being. Something within is the something that knows. Open my heart so I can accept all the goodness and wisdom inside. Crack my heart so I can receive and remember. I am worthy because I am me. Something within knows what I'm doing. Something within knows who I am. Somewhere within is the truth of our being. Somewhere within is the something that knows. Something within is that knows what I'm doing. Something within knows who I am. Somewhere within is the truth of my being. Something within is the something that knows. Somewhere within is the something that knows. Something within is the something that knows. Somewhere within is the something that knows. So that's what we're going to talk about tonight. Somewhere within is the something that knows. Somewhere within, we know what we're doing. Even when we forget, even when we're not sure, there is this place within us that knows when we stop, when I stop and listen and pay attention. So I've got a couple of different things I'm going to kind of drift around on the talk tonight, and they all came from the last few days and podcasts that I did today with this woman named Victoria. And we've been doing about once a week podcasts, just talking. We started talking off as sisters, kind of supporting each other. We're sisters of the soul. And she had a podcast a while back and stopped doing it for a while, and then something prompted her to say, hey, do you want to do this with me? And I'm like, yeah. And all we do is we just talk. And whatever comes out of our mouth is perfect. And we record it, and we don't edit it, and we just trust the perfect unfolding. So we actually did that today, so it's fresh in my mind. And one of the things that we both noticed was the last couple of days we felt this sort of what we would normally have labeled as a down day, that it was a low energy. There was something going on with both of us that felt just a little bit blah and out of sorts. Nothing major, nothing wrong, just kind of blah. And as soon as I started talking about that, I had this visceral feeling that I don't want to say that anymore. I don't want to say this is a down day or a blah day or a low energy day. It's just a day. It's another day. And things are always in flux and always changing. We might get up in the morning raring to go, and halfway through the day, we might, find something that feels like it's stopping us. Or we might wake up feeling blah, and then later on have a fantastic day. So one of the things I'm noticing for me is that I'm really working at not labeling things anymore. Not labeling them good or bad, right or wrong, high energy, low energy, higher self, lower self. It's all just one thing. It's this presence of the one, of the spirit, of this life expressing in and through and as us. And it felt really powerful to talk about that for a while. So we drifted off on that topic for a bit. The day is what it is. And what we choose to do within that moment, in that day, is what we choose to do with it. And maybe that means rest. And maybe that means cry, and maybe that means rant and rave, throw pillows at the wall, do something that doesn't hurt you or somebody else. But if there's energy that needs to be released, can we give ourselves permission to release it? If there's energy that needs to be brought in, can we allow ourselves to do that? And then right, of course, 2 hours before the talk, across Facebook comes this beautiful quote from a man named Jeff Foster. If you're feeling sad, you are not in a low vibration. You are not sick or broken or unenlightened or far from healing. You are not trapped in your ego or stuck in the separate self. You are not negative and you don't need to be fixed. Sadness is not a mistake. It is just life moving inside you, and life can never be a mistake. You just feel sad. That's all. It is an emotional state that manifests itself on the vibrant and lively screen of the presence. That's all. It's not a problem that requires a solution or patch. It is a sacred and precious part of you that craves for love, acceptance, embrace, and rest. Today, you have been blessed with sadness. You have been chosen as its home. Do not run away to such a precious visitor. That's a new way of looking at sadness and grief and sorrow and pain. It is not a mistake. It's just life moving inside you. It is a sacred and precious part of you. And we don't really know that. I haven't really known that. Until recently, I'm starting to get glimpses that there is no part that is unworthy. There is no part that needs to be trashed or pushed away or gotten rid of. There are parts to be listened to and loved and accepted and cared for and listened to for the wisdom they're trying to tell us. It might be an old wisdom or a wisdom that is in some way no longer helpful. Sometimes our reptilian brain thinks it's being really helpful to us, and it's actually stopping us from doing things. It's the first 3 lines of this song. What am I trying to say? I feel overwhelmed. I can't hear what I need to hear. I can't feel what I need to feel. I can't see what the next way is. But it's not a problem. And for me, in my life, I'm looking at, what if I just released that idea that parts of me are a problem? How would that be? What might that look like? Again, from what I talk about always, which is the sense of curiosity, which has no judgment in it. It's just open. So I had this awareness of a pattern that I've had, and maybe this will resonate with you. This is one of those things that I'm opening up to as it's not a problem, it's just interesting. It's just interesting to me how I've gone through my life with this particular behavior pattern, and until 3 or 4 days ago, I was unconscious to my behavior pattern. And I would have defended my behavior and my actions with the full force of my being. I have, in fact, defended the way I reacted out of this pattern with the full force of my wordiness and my language skills and my intention. So I had this epiphany that I have a hard time answering a simple question. Just answering a question. And it happens mostly with people that I am close to and love the most. Strangers can ask me questions. Where is this? What time is it? In fact, I can't go into a store without somebody asking me if I know where such and such is, because I think I have a retail face. I worked in retail for my early part of my life, and I always seem to look like I know what's going on, I guess. I don't know. But everybody's always thinking I work there, wherever there happens to be. I could be in the rattiest clothes, and they'll still ask me, where's the, baby powder? So strangers can ask me questions. No reptilian brain, no trigger, no nothing. My husband asks me a question, and one of two things seems to occur. And mostly it's one of two things. There may be times when I don't get triggered, but I'm going to focus on the times that I do. If he asks me a question and my judgmental brain kicks in, my judgmental brain says, why is he asking me that? That's a stupid question. He should be able to figure that out. Why do I need to tell him the answer? For example, the other night I had leftovers in the fridge and it was in a glass dish, so you could see into the dish. See, here I start justifying my actions, right? This is the judgmental part of my brain talking. He could see into the dish. And he said, what's in there? And it was steak and mushrooms. They're not confusing, right? Steak and mushrooms, pretty obvious. You know what mushrooms look like. You know what's. So he said, what's in there? And my judgmental brain went, are you kidding me? Can you just look in the dish? Why do you need to ask me? I just did this whole, what we call jokingly, Judgy McJudgerson voice. I didn't say any of it out loud. It was all in my head because I'm getting wiser. So that happens. I get judgy about the question. Why are they asking me that? It's so obvious that's a stupid question. That's one response. The other response is I get really, really defensive. I analyze the question. So he'll say something like, what's for dinner, or how much money is in our bank account, because I take care of tracking all of our stuff. He does a million other things in our family. That's one way I support us. And if I don't have the answer right away, or if he asks me what's for dinner, then my defense mechanism kicks in, and I first think, what's the question behind the question? And if I answer it wrong, or I don't give him the correct answer, I'm going to be stupid. He's trying to trick me. I'm going to be wrong. This whole, what I call the red carpet of crap, rolls out in front of my brain in a very predictable pattern. Why is he asking me? What's the question behind the question? I'm going to look stupid. I'm going to give the wrong answer. I'm going to get in trouble. Like, where does that come from? My husband does not want to make me look stupid. He's never trying to trap me. That is not our relationship. It's some old defense mechanism. So I had this epiphany, and then I stated it in his presence, and he kind of laughed. And he's like, oh, like that was a big surprise. And it was for me. He saw clearly when he would ask me a question, he was like hesitant. Oh no, if I ask her the question, she's going to either get upset or bother, like I'm a nice, kind, loving person, but there's something about questions that just sends me into crazy town. I don't know why. And I don't have to know why. My previous life, I would want to figure out why. Well, when I was 3, there was an event, and I want to trace back the why I do this. It doesn't matter why. It has no bearing on this moment and now. What I can do now is notice somebody asked me a question and notice my own reactions and then just answer the question. The only question that's been asked of me. If there's more that the person wants to know, they'll ask me. If there's further information that's needed, they'll ask me. And if I don't know the answer, I can just say, I don't know. Oh, I'm going to faint. What a concept. So again, this may seem really obvious to anybody else out here. And it may not apply to any of you. But I think we all have stuff like this that unconsciously runs us until we notice it. Until it bubbles up to the surface to go, okay, so that's something I do. Do I want to keep doing that? Now, am I going to catch myself every single time right now? No. I'm just starting to really notice the behavior. And now I get to build the muscle of catching myself, paying attention, noticing it. And if I come out with some of the judgmental thoughts or the defensive thoughts, if they happen to slip out of my mouth, what I can do is say, wait, stop, that's not what I meant to say. Dinner's at 6. Like, can I just catch myself? I also have a habit of saying things under my breath a lot, not intentionally not letting my husband hear what I say, but I just unconsciously, I'll say something and then I'll kind of drift off at the end. And he wants to hear me. And he said, please make sure that I can hear you when you speak, because it's important to me to hear what you're saying if you want me to hear it. Some of my words are just observations about the world. Oh, look at that pretty picture over there. Oh, look at that pretty red door, blah, blah, blah. It's nothing important. But if I want to be heard, I get to make sure that I'm heard. So yesterday, we've talked about this a little bit, and I started to say something as I was walking out of the room. And I realized he just missed the last half of what I said. So I turned right around and I said, I'm sorry, I just left the room. And I didn't say the last half of what I was saying in a way that you could hear me. And he laughed and he said, I did hear you. I said, I know, but I want points because I noticed. I want my points so I can win. I want my points so that I can reinforce for myself the things that I want to do out of a space of love, out of a space of connection, out of a space of intentional relationship with anyone. So that's something I just kind of had an awareness of. And I want you to kind of tuck away in your back pocket for after the talk portion, when we have our conscious conversations portion, and just see and notice if there's anything that bubbles up that you're like, oh yeah, there's this thing that I do. And it's not about figuring out why. It's about bringing it into the light. There's some reason that I've had the McJudgerson response and some defense mechanism, but I don't have to worry about the reasons. What I can do is when they get activated, I can let them know, don't worry, you're okay. I got this. All we need, it's okay. Mm-hmm. All we need to do is answer the question. Then everything will be fine. Mm-hmm. And then they can rest. Those parts that get activated can rest. Because I've got this. The wholeness of me, the part at the center of my being, the somewhere within that knows, can tell those other parts, it's okay. You can stand down. I've got this. The wiser, deeper, more loving part. We've got this. Not in a punitive way, not in a sharp rebuke. Don't do that. But in a loving way. It's okay. I've got this. How do we want to respond? Ralph Waldo Emerson said, finish each day and be done with it. You have done what you could. Some blunders and absurdities no doubt crept in. Forget them as soon as you can. Tomorrow is a new day. You shall begin it serenely, and with too high a spirit to be encumbered with your old nonsense. I like that quote. Some blunders and absurdities no doubt crept in. Yeah, the blunders and absurdities. It's not the end of the world, most of the time. Unless we slip and hit the button for the nuclear bomb, which none of us have to worry about. Learn new things. Can we be open to learning new things about ourselves? No matter how long we've lived on this planet, no matter how much work we've already done. I've been doing inner work. We've all been doing inner work for a long time. We still have new things to discover about the landscape of our own self. And it's kind of cool that we can still discover new things, that we're not fixed in stone. This week in our 12 Steps Recovery from White Conditioning class, book study, there was a really beautiful quote in this week's Step 7. And what I found fascinating was the same exact quote showed up in our Science of Mind magazine on the 17th. I was like, oh, that was interesting. So I'm going to read this quote because it's a good one. It's by Wade Davis. The world in which you were born is just one model of reality. Other cultures are not failed attempts at being you. They are unique manifestations of the human spirit. I'm going to read that again. The world in which you were born is just one model of reality. Other cultures are not failed attempts at being you. They are unique manifestations of the human spirit. And I want to tie that back into what we've just been talking about. The world in which we were born is just one model and one example of our life. We've all had stories about what we thought our life was growing up, being teenagers, going through what we thought it was. It was this, for sure, for sure. I know I was there. And then sometimes we have this epiphany, this blowing open of the cobwebs of our mind and realizing, oh, maybe there was more to that than I thought. Maybe there was a lot of other stuff going on. Maybe I made up stories when I was 2 and 3 about who I am and how the world works and how I need to work in it in order to survive. That were stories that I made up, and they were just one model of reality. And they are not failed attempts at being ourselves. They're just one way we expressed ourselves at that time. You know, I think it was Maya Angelou, when we know better, we do better. When we know more, we do more. And then from today. Mistakes are a fact of life. It is the response to error that counts. Nikki Giovanni. She says, we do the best we can based on the information we know and the resources available to us. And sometimes our best isn't good enough. Actually, our best is. More often, our best is fine and works well until the circumstances change. Our coping mechanisms for life worked really well until we grew up or until something changed or until we got into a deep, intimate relationship. And then, oh, that stuff just doesn't work anymore. It's time for something new. When we look at the world today, we can point out many mistakes made by past generations and observe a long list of social problems. But the reality is, the way we make change in our individual lives is the same way we contribute to making changes in our culture and our world. She's got 4 words that we focus on right now. Choose. Let's do that together. I'm going to invite you to just do some physical things and some verbal things to kind of anchor these in. So hold up your thumb and say, choose.
Choose.
The first step is to change. The first step to change is to choose what we want to experience. Do we want to experience inclusion? Then we must envision a world where people from different groups have healthy relationships with one another and choose to move in that direction. So choose. The first step to change is to choose what we want to experience. The second thing, change. Let's say that together. Change. We must be willing to stop repeating old patterns. We must be willing to choose new behaviors, new friends, new ways of being. So first we choose what we want to experience, and then we must be willing to change. Just be willing. You don't have to know how to change. You don't have to know what the change needs to be. Just be willing to change. And then stuff comes across your Facebook feed that feeds whatever it is that you're intending. Things show up. The next class, the next book, the next perfect person that drops some beautiful stuff in your ear. Choose, change. Number 3, learn. Let's say that together. Learn. As we change our behavior, we are required to learn new things. We learn about ourselves. We learn about the ways others live their lives. And the new options created by learning new things begin to shape new habits. choose, change, learn. And the last one, grow. Grow. New habits, repeated over time, cause us to grow. Sometimes we grow exactly as predicted. Sometimes we grow in ways we couldn't even imagine at first. But growth is the outcome. Mistakes will be made. I changed that to research and development will be made. Think of them as stepping stones to growth. Because we say around here there are no mistakes, there's only research and development. So choose, change, learn, grow. Well, that works too. So there's a brain study a long time ago that was done that still is applicable today. It's a neuroscience study that shows that when you say positive affirmations or sounds or something you want to remember and you tap the tips of your fingers, thank you, Mom, for the reminder, because this is better for us, that when we actually tap the tips of our fingers, there's chemical changes that actually happen in our brain. Isn't that cool? And there's new pathways that also get formed. So let's do this together. Let's do the tapping finger thing. So that's this. So choose, change, learn, grow. Choose, change, learn, grow. Choose, change, learn, grow. Choose, change, learn, grow. So you'll remember that now because you've done that a few times. Choose, change, learn, and grow. One of my former ministers used to say all change is sequential, incremental, and cumulative. It goes in a particular order, it goes in little tiny steps, and then it is cumulative, like that flywheel we talked about last week. The more you do, the more it grows. The more you do, the faster it grows. The more you do. So choose, change, learn, and grow. Just trying to think if there's anything else that wants to be said. Let me just tap in for a second and check my notes. No. So take a deep breath. Notice, be willing to begin to notice what are some of the reactive patterns I might have in my life that maybe I can begin to view differently. That maybe, with curiosity, I can begin to see them not as enemies or problems or something I need to fix or manage or handle, but instead information I can use to choose and change and learn and grow. Maybe. Just pretend and see what happens. Take a deep breath. Catherine is going to play a beautiful instrumental tune to transition us from talk to conversation. Thank you, Catherine. I invite you to just let this music bubble up from within you, whatever wants to be known through you. Thank you, Catherine. That's pretty.
Yeah.
What's that called?
The Forgotten.
The Forgotten?
Yeah,
Lovely.
because I forgot it.
I like
I
the
mean, it's
Forgotten.
really called that because of that.
I like that.
I knew there was this song, this beautiful song that I had written, and I just couldn't remember it. It was just aching my heart. And so I kept sitting down and play a little piece that would come back to you. Remember, you probably know, a little piece there, a little piece there, and then eventually it all came back, all the pieces, and it all came back together. And I was like, oh.
It's all in there somewhere.
I should call it the Remembered.
Yeah. There you go. It was the Forgotten. Once forgotten, now remembered.
Once forgotten, now remembered.
Yeah, that's good. So take a breath. This is our time for conscious giving. In our program, if you choose to give, we have a conscious giving affirmation. And if you're giving just energy, that's beautiful too. The way we're doing it now is there's a bowl in the middle, so we're not passing that around. So I invite you to say the conscious giving affirmation with me if you choose. I am open to give. I am open to receive. I am grateful to be in the flow of life through and as me. Aho. Our closing song is Something is Shifting in Me. Bye, Clancy. I invite you to join us in the closing song if you choose. Something is shifting in me, and I don't know where it's going. Something that wants to be free, and it's strange and new and flowing under the surface, inside my heart space, revealing wholeness where once was pain. Something is shifting in me, and I open to it now. Something is growing in me, and I don't know what is blooming. Roots growing down so deeply. There's a tenderness that's brewing into the depth of all of my power, lifting me up to shine my light. Something is growing in me, and I open to it now. Something is moving in me, and I feel a new beginning, releasing my fear graciously. There's a web of connection spinning through every person, in every moment, connecting me to all of life. Something is moving in me, and I open to it now. I open to it now. I open to it now. Woo!
All right.
We did it! Another gathering complete. Thank you for joining us. Alhamdulillah. Thank you for joining us out there, out here, and out there. We are grateful for your presence and how you bless this world by your presence. It is a joy to be with you. I will see you next time. I love you. Bye.